I don't know. I think it's still a little tight.
There we go.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Woo! Happy Sunday. I'm gonna light some Palo Santo. How about that?
I like it.
You like it?
Mm-hmm. We had a bonfire, and our band members came last night, and we were drumming, and we were playing all kinds of instruments, and we took our sage, our big stick of sage that, what's it? Is it? It's got Yerba Santa.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it? Just
Yeah.
Sage and Yerba Santa, and I think we left it outside, and I think it rained. Well, actually, it rained.
It rained a lot.
So it might have got ruined. Or maybe we could just dry it out in the sun.
After the tornadoes this afternoon, we're supposed to have really bad weather this afternoon. We had so many different topics that we wanted to talk about today, but I think we found a thread that we can kind of like weave it all into. Hold on. I apologize. I have bronchitis, acute bronchitis. My kids gave it to me. They all have it too. It's been really fun. So
Has it?
It's been so fun. No, it's not really been fun. Anyhow, so today we had an incident this week. This is what like prompted this whole conversation. So we had, hi Tammy, hi Arlene, Angelica. We had an incident this week where in one of the local spiritual groups here for St. Louis, I promoted our Temazcal ceremony for the women coming up on next Friday. You should definitely come, by the way. There's still spots. And some man got really upset about it and started saying how, you know, basically like we shouldn't be charging, that it should be free and all of this. And
no, this is not the first time this has happened. But this has always happened like behind closed door, like people messaging me or people messages our people being like they shouldn't be charging and it should be free, all those things, right? So we've been dealing with this for a minute, but this time it happened more like in the public eye.
Yeah, yes, it was definitely more public, and you know, it's fine. These things happen, whatever, but like that is a hill I'm definitely willing to die on. Like I will always charge for my spiritual gifts, and yeah, I mean, I do things for free a lot. I've done many free events. I overgive in my containers all the time, and there's always an equal energy exchange for what we offer. In fact, I believe that a lot of our offers are still technically like underpriced. Like we could actually charge more for what we deliver. And so it brought about, then we started noticing there were questions in the community group, in the same group of, you know, a couple days later, asking, you know, if they felt like the healing market was oversaturated, and wanting to know like who were the healers who were like actually supporting themselves and their families off of their healing work. And there weren't very many people. Out of 3,000 people in this St. Louis group, there were only a few who said that they do well. And I raised my hand on that, and I was like, hey, we do. We are full-time healers. We support our family. We make a living off of this. We make a decent living off of this, right? Like we're definitely 6-figure range this year. We're looking to go to multi-6 figures. And we wanted to talk about like why, because we saw a lot of, I guess you could say, problems, some problematic things that happened from this conversation where people were saying, they didn't feel safe sharing their gifts because of, commenters such as this man saying, we shouldn't be charging what we're charging and what have you. And it causes people to hide, stay small, and then they never truly share their sacred and divine medicine with the world. And for us, it's kind of unacceptable. Like, that is the true shame. That's like the true crime here, right? Like, not asking for an equal energetic exchange via money, the system with which our whole society is built upon. And so we wanted to talk about that. And it's probably not like why you don't have a healing business that's supporting you, and it's probably not what you think.
And there's more different angles, right? Mm-hmm. And we'll talk about different angles why. But so one of the reasons why I got into this, and actually it's interesting because the Srelach, the Temazcal, is what Kara was promoting, and the Temazcal for some reason has been very triggering for people. Like if there's any of offers that people feel like we shouldn't charge, is the Srelach. Right, and I understand it. I said I know it could be a cultural thing and a regional thing and all the things, right? But my whole thing it has been since day one, is that I wanted to have this technology, which is the Srelach, not get lost, right? And I felt like Mexico is still still alive and people are still doing them. And I really truly believe in this technology, that is the Temazcal, this ancient technology that's been around for thousands of years, right? I think it's like 5,000 years that the Srelach has been around. And I thought to myself, I said, well, I want to bring it back. And in order to bring it back and do this full time, and not only do it full time, but then teach others, like I have to be resourced, right? And in this current time that we live in, money is how we exchange that. In the back in the days, people would bring you food and shelter and anything you needed, right? It doesn't work that way. So my logic was like, well, I need to charge for this, so this technology doesn't die, because I noticed that a lot of people don't do this, don't have the time or the capacity, whatever, because they have to have a full-time job, right? They can't do this full-time. They can't teach others, right? And so this technology, these teachings are starting to die, right? And for whatever reason, the logic behind this, and I find it to be more of a Native Americans that have this that had adopted this belief that they shouldn't charge, right? And I'm like, well, how are you supposed to honor your ancestors? How are you supposed to honor spirit? How are you supposed to honor these teachings if you don't have the time to dedicate to this craft, to doing the ceremonies, right? It's like the thing that you're fighting for, you're losing the battle by not charging. And so I even have a lot of conversations behind closed doors with Native Americans, people that do the Srelach, of like, we need to charge for this. You guys need to charge for this, Like, how else are you, like, there's people out there that can use your services that could benefit from the Srelach, but because you're working a 9 to 5, a job that you probably don't like, that you probably hate, that's it's like, doesn't give you anything, but because you believe that you got to be working that job, now there's somebody else out there that's never going to have this experience that you could be providing. And now some of them, they're having discussions, they're open, I challenge their beliefs, but then again, this has just been happening very close. And I've talked about this in the open, and I even talked about, the witch hunt. I think I wrote a post like, I don't know, a couple months ago, addressing this, because behind closed doors, people come and tell me, they're like, yeah, like, I really want to do this, but like, I made a post, about something that I was doing, and people were calling me a witch, and people were saying I was doing like devil's work and blah blah blah, and so they stay hidden, and they don't practice their ancestors like ceremonies and teachings and all that, because they're afraid of being called names, or that people are going to come at them. And and this especially, I think I want to say this especially lives in the the women's DNA, you know, and for good reasons. Like we all know about the witch hunts and that fear of persecution. It's still very well in our life, and I hear this and behind the scenes a lot. But I think we definitely need to be speaking about this more openly.
Yeah.
And that's just like one angle, right?
This is just like, let's start with the persecution one. I think that's a great one. And then we can kind of go down the list.
Yeah.
Like, this has been a huge piece for me. Like, there's so much of my work that I don't share. I don't advertise. I don't promote it because, because people don't understand. Because they distort what we do. Because they can't handle the truth. They don't want to know the truth. And they project onto me, right? So my work has been to become unmovable by that, unwavering, that I so deeply know myself, love myself, have my own motherfucking back, and have had to get in right relationship with my own power, my own protectors, and really be able to hold myself through those arrows, if you will, right? Because that's what they are, is like people are shooting arrows, throwing arrows at you, and you have to be unmovable, unwavering. You have to be unfuckwithable. You have to be deeply fucking rooted in who you are as a healer to withstand the different ways that persecution still happens today, and to do that inner work and that process of like feeling safe within yourself, right? It's a very multifaceted journey. It's actually one of the biggest pieces. It's something that I work with in Dragoness, and also we work on inside of Sacred Wall Society, because it's huge and it really hinders us. It stops us. It prevents us from being visible, being seen, sharing our medicine, and standing in our power around our gifts and our medicine, because we still hold these deep internal fears of, like being fucking massacred and killed and betrayed, and feeling the responsibility of others who endured harm along the way, right? Like in ancient times, whenever we did hold these roles of power.
And, like now, they're not going to come and like burn you at the stake, or they're not going to, have a trial in the middle of the town. But it looks different now. Now it looks like people are trying to cancel you, or,
make false reports against you. Maybe they call, CPS on you.
Yeah, or just like call you names, or make you want to doubt yourself, or saying that you're doing demonic work, or that, you're not in the right relationship, that you're misusing your power. All the things, right, that make you, like, it's a hit on the nervous system.
Yeah,
right?
They tell people you're running a sex cult.
Right. So all the things, right, and we fear that because it's alive. It's alive, I think like one of the big reasons why I wanted to like create the Dragonite Tribe is because I wanted people to experience that holding from others, right? That, we were all kind of doing our own thing by ourselves and feeling very alone in it. And I wanted to create a community where we did have each other's back, where we didn't feel lonely. Like we felt like there
was covering.
Yeah, there was covering and holding from others, right? And I think it was like, speaking about that post that this guy made, about us not charging for. Well, it was like, be warned. There's some people charging for our sweat lights, right? And I think it was like he was trying to rally others to grab their pitchforks and come at us, and somehow cancel us, or be like, yes, this motherfucker shouldn't be charging or whatever. And we were like, oh hell no, we're not gonna do that, right? And we commented, but it was beautiful because also like our tribe commented and people were like, yes, we're not gonna do that, and it was actually backfire on this guy, and it was very beautiful, empowering to see that we actually end up getting clients off of that post, which is interesting. But also too, like, you know, like that's what we agree on. Like, we're not gonna stand for this. If we're gonna be leaders, we're gonna do our work so we can, you know, have a voice, so we can voice our opinion, what we believe in. And I think in that we've given other people permission to do the same. Mm-hmm. To be like, oh my God, I feel the same way. Yes, you should be charging for your gifts and for all the time and effort that you put into your craft, you know. And mm-hmm. And again, like this live that we're doing is just an extension of that.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And this is why, like, this is just such a huge reason why so many healers never really stand in their gifts and their power and come forth and say, this is who I am and this is what I have to offer, and, you know, allow themselves to truly be visible so that they can be fully supported. And, like, you know, we wanted to kind of even define what that support can look like. And it's like, you can make a lot of money from your day job, right? But you're not being supported by your soul work, right? Like, at your work that you're called to as a healer. And this is something that we feel very, 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 like, it's part of our mission to restore ancient healers back to their rightful place of power in society, right? And this is like where we, like, are you standing in who you are and what you bring and what you offer and what you provide? Because that, you have to do that. You have to be your number one champion and be like, you know, I'm so fucking good at what I do. Like, I know that I facilitate profound transformation. This is what I do. This is how I do it. And, like, you have to know your own value. You have to be able to see your own self. And until you do, you will never have a thriving spiritual healing business, right? You can't.
And you have to surround with people that also tell you your worth, right? That are always mirroring your value, your worth. Because, yeah, like this guy, you know, and you know, we've had other people too that we're no longer in a relationship because of that. Because they're always kind of like crabs in a bucket, right? Like, I'm afraid, like, you know, I'm afraid of charging my worth. I'm afraid of charging for my gifts. So therefore, I'm gonna make you wrong for charging for your gifts or for your offerings, right? Or you're charging too much. Like, I can only charge this amount, but you charging triple, 4 times more than I charge. It's very confrontational because now I have to do my work. Mm-hmm. Now I have to get to that point. Yeah. So instead of doing my work, I want to pull you back into this bucket and be like, no, you're charging too much. Because this happens within our community, within you know, the healer community, mm-hmm. right? Like, people,
not our Dragonite community.
No. Like, you know, other communities where they're like, you know, you guys, why are you charging so much? You guys shouldn't be charging this, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, well, instead of you trying to pull me where you're at, why don't you come up here and charge your worth, you know, and if you truly believe in what you're doing and that it's making a change and your clients are reflecting back, mirroring back to you that, yes, you are making a change in their lives, then there you go. And then it's all aligned, it's all working, right? But it's just your own, you know, wound of receivership. You're not seeing your worth. You're being maybe surrounded with people that are also keeping you there. It's why you want to pull me back there.
Yeah.
And again, like, we're here to say, no, that's not the way.
Yeah.
Because I know so many people that wish they could be supported by this work, right? You know, by their Reiki sessions or by their, you know, massage
Akashic records,
yeah, all things, all
ceremonies.
Yes. They wish they could be supported by it. They wish they could do it at full time. But they believe that they can't.
Yeah.
They believe that they have to work the 9 to 5, the job that maybe it's not fulfilling, you know, and they'll do just your healing modalities on the side as a hobby or as a, you know, just for fun.
Secondary,
yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm here to tell you, like, no, you can actually live off of, you know, your gifts, you know, your offerings, what you have to, you know, share with the world.
Yeah, and not only can you be fully financially supported by your gifts and medicine as a healer, it can be very sustainable, right? Like, you don't have to, like, break your back and, like, work your fucking ass off and, like, doesn't have to be this huge struggle and doesn't have to be hard. And that's like a whole other aspect of why you don't have a fully sustaining, supportive business as a healer, because you haven't learned how to receive that for yourself and then create it for yourself. And there's a common thread here, and we talk about this all the time between ourselves and with, you know, our like private clients and stuff. Yeah, is that all of this requires you to hold yourself. You have to be able to hold yourself through all of the discomfort, because all of these things require you to hold yourself through the discomfort of raising your prices, of setting boundaries, of creating new standards, creating the systems required to have a truly sustainable, nurturing business. And you have to also be able to receive. You have to know how to receive. You have to know how to receive and to allow your business to hold you, not you always be holding it.
And you know, as you say that also too, like, you know, I think we can both agree that there's a path.
Mm-hmm.
As we're saying this, but we also are sensitive to the journey,
Yeah.
right? Of like what it takes for you to hold yourself, right? And the work that is required for you to hold yourself and to be visible and to craft and birth new offerings, right? And to raise your prices. Like there's a journey,
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I want to be sensitive to that. It's not an easy thing to do, right? It can be very challenging. But I also believe that there's some foundational work
Mm-hmm.
that needs to be done.
Yep.
Right? And you know, I believe in more of a steady, slow and steady growth. You know, where you're constantly evolving, you're constantly raising your prices, where you're not blowing your nervousness out of the water. You know, where you're actually get to have it. But that requires for you to fully receive it, right? Because I see a lot of like clients or people that we know that they're not yet ready to receive it, so they do things just to prove that their story is correct, that they don't get to have it,
mm-hmm.
right? And I see that, and it's like it's sneaky because you think you're doing the right thing, right? You think you're gonna, now this time it's actually gonna work, but it's just the story repeating itself, right? Because again, you still haven't, you're still not ready to receive it, and that's okay, right? But being aware is where the magic happens.
Yes, and this is where we come in, right? Because in order to receive, what do you have to do? You have to be willing to let the old belief, the old story, the old pattern die, right? And ultimately you can choose to do that and let it be easy through a beautiful surrender. And that's what opens your heart to receiving. And well, what I have found on this path is that like the underworld journey that we guide clients through is really the key to this, because as you receive yourself, you reclaim your power over and over and over again, and you root down and you root down and you create this huge sustainable root system, right? Where you're anchored, where you're solid, where you're unwavering, that then as you need to, and that allows you to hold firmly, right, into the earth as a tree would. And so then when the wind comes and the storm blows and all of these things, we can stand strong, right? We can stay like solid in who we are. We can hold ourselves through the price increases, through the criticism, through the pushback, through the doubt, through the like, you know, unknowns, right? And weather the storm to the other side, right? And it gets easier and easier and easier the more practice we get to do it. But it can be so fucking uncomfortable initially, right? That as soon as we experience that, we're like, oh, hell no, I'm out, I'm done, I quit. I'm not going to do the launch. I'm not going to raise the price. I'm not going to expand the container, right? Like, I feel like one of the things that we see the most is just like people doing $30 one-off events. That's a great thing to start with, but it's not sustainable. You have to be able to hold the next level. You have to be able to hold containers ongoing containers or bigger bodies of work that truly can create reoccurring revenue, that can truly sustain you, right? We know because we have had to do this in many, many different facets and forms, right? We have a very diverse ecosystem within our business. We have year-long offers, we have one-off offers, we have, 4-day retreats, we have a multitudes of things and multitudes of price points, right? But it takes a lot to develop yourself. It requires a development. I won't say it takes a lot because depends where you're at. For some, it's going to be really easy, and for others, you may have a longer journey to walk. But it requires a development to get to that place.
Yeah. One of the most like sneakiest thing that happens, I feel like I see, and of course we've lived it, is that sometimes we reject things before they can reject us, right? Because it's extremely vulnerable to say, I want that thing, right? So if, I see this with like this mentality of people that says like you shouldn't charge or you're charging too much, right? It's like they're rejecting that, even though like maybe consciously or subconsciously they want that. They're like, nah, I actually don't want that. I don't want to have the 6-figure business because X, Y, and Z, right? I don't want to have a partnership because I don't want to be like them because X, Y, and Z, right? And even though like, because it's vulnerable to say, you know what, I want that union. I actually do want to be making enough money to pay all my bills and then some. Actually, I do want to raise my prices. Actually, I want to be visible. I want to be famous. Whatever, right? It's like, I think when we start digging, we start realizing that we have a lot of desires, a lot of wants that we reject because it's too vulnerable to say them, to claim it, right? But that's where the magic happens, right? Like, I feel like a lot of people, like, quote unquote, are afraid of us or reject us or whatever, call us names or whatever, because at some level, they want what we have, but they can't admit it to themselves, or it's too vulnerable to say, actually, I do want what you guys have. So they reject, right? They reject because in that they create a level, an illusion of safety, right? That I don't want them. I don't want that, And I'm here to say that if you feel that, follow that. Follow if you find yourself rejecting something or making it wrong or passing judgment on somebody else that maybe has it, you should follow that. Be like, well, what's in it for me? What part of myself am I rejecting? Or what part is it too vulnerable for me to accept that I want that? And like I said, like a lot of magic happens in that.
Yeah, and I feel like what you're really speaking to too is like the desires that we have are all guiding us to reclaim our power. The very thing we are the most afraid of having, right? And this is probably, I would say, the number one reason why people don't have thriving, sustainable, nurturing, nourishing, supportive, healing businesses, because it requires you to own your fucking power and to stand in your power in such a way that, yes, you are going to have to deal with some of that projection. You are going to have to make hard decisions. You are going to have to be seen as the villain at times, and to be okay with yourself in that and to trust yourself to wield that level of power. And I feel like this is truly the biggest fear behind all of it, right? Because we were just reading Marianne Williamson's A Return to Love quote, right? It's not our darkness that we most fear, it's our light. It's not our inadequacies. Like, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. And what would happen if you actually found out how fucking powerful you are? Every single fucking story has to die.
And who would you be if you had it? Like, who would you be if you had it? Those stories that right now you have, the stories that you're fighting for, of not enoughness, of unworthiness, of lack, of, what's the word?
Scarcity?
Yeah, scarcity. I mean, all those things, right? Like if you didn't have that anymore, like who would you become?
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to make love to those stories anymore, right? Or you wouldn't be able to be the martyr, to be the victim, right? And so that's scary, because exactly, you at least right now you know who you are, right? But if you embark on this journey where you actually get to have it all, could you trust yourself? Would you get lost in it?
Mm-hmm.
Will you misuse your power?
Mm-hmm.
Will you burn it all to the ground? Will your loved ones still be there with you?
Mm-hmm.
Would you be rejected by friends? Would you have to leave your community that you belong to right now behind because you can no longer,
stay in that frequency?
Like the mentality, it's a mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Relate to them. Mm-hmm. Would you still be able to relate to them? Would will you end up alone? Like all those are like very legit fears.
And a lot of those things do happen in your journey to reclaiming your power and stripping away all that is false and not true. It is.
Yeah, we've had to do that too. A lot of that, and we understand the path, because at times like we were literally like stifling our growth because there's people that we knew that they weren't going to come with us if we went a different direction or we kept growing, and it was that the fears were so real that we were like, okay, well maybe we shouldn't keep growing because now we're not going to be in a relationship with these people, and it's like, man. But what a disservice that is to not only us, but humanity and to them.
Yeah.
How can we be of service to them if we're not leading the way or guiding or whatever, And the whole thing was like, well, hopefully they'll be able to meet us where we're going. And if not, that's okay because we'll have ourselves,
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you essentially are having to heal your attachment wounds and become sovereign, right? In order to wield your power in right relationship, right? Because you can do this all kinds of different ways, right? But I know that a lot of us healers, we have good hearts, right? We have pure intentions, and we don't want to cause harm, right? But that fear of causing harm, or that fear of being alone, or that fear of making other people uncomfortable is also preventing us from doing the work, bringing our medicine forth in the way that our soul were asked to do before we ever came into this life. And so that is an even greater disservice, right? So it's not you charging more than other people think you should. It's not having to turn away people that maybe can't afford you, because if they can't afford you, they're probably not aligned to the level of transformation that you're offering at this time. A lot of times that is the case, we have found. And that's okay. There's someone else for them, right? We don't have to be everyone's hero, right? We're not the saviors. We're not the only one. But when we're in scarcity, it can feel like that. Right? When we don't understand our own value that we're bringing and the true potency of our medicine, then it can be really easy to get moved by someone else's scarcity story, right? So this is why a lot of healers don't have a full-time income from their spiritual gifts.
Yeah, and like I said, there's so many angles to this, but I think like we cover, some major ones, and also too, like society, like I said, we've gotten away from that, from like healers being seen as actual legit, professionals, like now I feel like a lot of the healers that I see are just doing it as like a side hustle or, hobby, or not taking it fully seriously, and I think I made a post, I can't remember I said it, but like we see ourselves as professionals.
Yeah.
Like this is what we do. We invest in ourselves. We grow. We get guidance. We get get coaching ourselves too. We're constantly having these conversations. We're always constantly looking at ourselves. Birthing new offers. Like we are professionals. This is our profession, and we treat it as such, right? Just like a doctor would, like a lawyer would, like an athlete, like a carpenter, whoever, right? Like this is our job, and we take it seriously.
Very seriously. very, very seriously.
Do you have some comments?
Just a few. We have, so Tammy was like saying like spot on earlier. I can't remember what we were saying specifically, but Kelly Fila just said good morning. I'm at work, but definitely gonna be listening in later. That's awesome. And then Tammy also was just like, that was her favorite quote of Marianne Williamson's, her return to love. Yeah, because also too, right? Like if you're here to be a healer, then you're here to be a way shower. You're here to be a leader. And if you're not standing in your leadership, you're not standing in your gifts, you're not standing in your medicine, you're not doing what you're here to do. Period. Facts. And like, well, because, and as we become liberated from our fears, because that's what's happening here, we're just allowing our fears to, what's the word? Like keep us small and like hidden and collapsed. Like we are allowing our fears to collapse us, right? Versus rising into our power. And as we rise into our power, we are liberated from our fears. And as Marianne Williamson says, as we liberate ourselves from our own fears, we automatically liberate others. And that is the fucking work of being a healer. Like your presence then just becomes liberation for others. Permission, proof, evidence for the brain, for the mind. And that is very, very, very powerful. That just being you is enough to permission someone else into their power, into their purpose, into their mission. And what greater gift of can that be, right? And like, how can we be even more of greater service and also be greater resourced, more, you know? And this is what we teach in Sacred Well Society. This is like, I mean, everything that we do connects back to this at some level, right? Because it's all about reclamation of your power, reclamation of your gifts, liberation of your fears, utilizing erotic alchemy in order to do that, right? Using your arrows to alchemize these fears over and over and over again. In fact, we actually, we had a little temple session ourselves this week, and that was like my desire came through of like, I was like, show me even more of my power. I didn't know how that wanted to come through, but through our lovemaking experience that we had together, through our erotic alchemy experience, it was around the gentleness of my power that I got to reclaim in the process, and like how easy and how gentle and how soft and how I could really receive so much pleasure from that place. And it was like a re-templating in a more embodied and deeper way. It's hard for me to put it into words, but it was really, really beautiful. And this is the work, right? Like this is the work that we get to do. We get to do this work.
Yeah, everything you said, yes.
Let's see. Hold on. Arlene says, you two always speak such big truth. I'm so glad I caught the live today. Tammy said, discovering our self-limitations is the journey to liberation.
I mean, that's how we ended up on this side, you know? It was like by us like doing the work and healing ourselves and figuring out a different way, you know, because we wanted to be better parents, we wanted to like have a better relationship, you know, better sex, you know, like we wanted to have a bigger impact in our communities, like everything. This is what we set out to do, and in the process, we're like, oh my God, there's a different way. Like we can actually do this. We can actually live in our truth and our gifts, and we can actually, you know, do what we love to do, you know, what turns us on, you know, what makes us feel alive. And then we're like, oh my God, well, maybe we should teach others as well.
Yeah.
And that's how this all came about. There's always been, every single offer has always been like that. It's been like, people need to know about this, that there's a different way. And like for me, you know, and I've released this identity, but for me, I always felt the injustice of it all. You know, that people didn't know that, you know, they were stuck working their 9 to 5s, or feeling unworthy, or feeling like they couldn't charge for their gifts, or they just couldn't have it, right? And I just felt like the injustice, and that for many years fired me up to want to be like, well, I'm going to change that. We're going to change that.
Yeah.
I've released that identity because even though it gave me so much, it also made me work a lot from the hero, you know, which I always wanted to find a villain, and I always wanted to find a victim, and it wasn't the best. It stopped serving me. So
yeah, it was disempowering.
Yeah.
Which actually was the next point that I wanted to make, of like, the reason why your healing business isn't fully supporting you yet is because you are still in victim consciousness, and you're still addicted to your suffering. And that's a really confronting statement. I know that. And you're welcome. And it's something that we ourselves have had to really confront, and ongoingly, and always looking at like, ooh, where am I still making it a little too hard? Ooh, where am I still making love to why I don't get to have this, or how hard this has to be? And the beauty of this is like, it is like, you have to you get, well, I'm not going to say you have to, you don't have to do anything, but you get to, in this process, you get to dismantle that martyr consciousness, that martyr archetype of sacrifice, right? And again, it's like, I feel like that is where we sacrifice ourselves so much, is through our own inner masculine. And this is like where we also need to do the most development work, so that we can hold ourselves through all of the discomfort things that have to occur in order for you to grow and create a thriving, sustainable healing business, without sacrificing yourself, your relationships, your family, your well-being, all the things, right? Because when you honor yourself, you honor your client. When you honor yourself, you honor your partner, you know, your spouse, you honor your children. When you honor yourself. And again, that kind of comes back to boundaries again too.
The protector.
The protector, which you wanted to also talk about today.
Yeah.
Do you?
I'm not trying to see like, where do I start with the protector?
I see the lead in here.
Oh, go ahead.
So as we speak about, you know, we talked about the sabotage. We talked about the stories. We're talking about the holding. All of this is connected to our masculine energy, right? And where we might not be in right relationship with the power of our masculine, where we're sacrificing our masculine, and where we're still operating from fear, not love, right? The roots that I spoke about earlier on, that we have to establish, that we get to establish to create a sustainable foundational thing to endure the challenges and hardships of entrepreneurship, and as a healer specifically, all comes from meeting ourselves with love over and over and over again, knowing that we have our own backs, that no matter what happens, we will have our own self-love, right? And again, kind of coming back to that attachment wounding. But what often happens is we all have protectors, and you were saying they're sneaky, you know, they will come in and they will sabotage the fuck out of everything you're doing, and make you think that you don't get to have it, that you can't do it, that it's not possible, that it's too hard, that it can never work, it's not safe, etc., 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 and so on and so forth. But when you do your work with your protector, when you return that protector back to love, right? So out of fear, out of victim, and you return him back to love. You return him back to his sacred role.
Well, from a fear, you know, it might look like controlling. It might be like a restrictive. You know, it might be paralyzed.
Fight or flight.
Fight or flight. Yes, that's when your masculine is in a state of fear.
Mm-hmm.
versus being in a state of love.
Yes, versus being in a state of love. And when you bring love to that fear, you immediately can begin to alchemize it. And the more you do that, the more you return your masculine back to his sacred role as guardian of your power, guardian of your gifts, guardian of your heart, guardian of your womb, right? And then you develop a new level of self-trust with yourself. You develop a new level of capacity to hold. You transform your frequency, right? You start to vibrate at a higher frequency. And you begin to love more and more. As you love more and more parts of yourself, that masculine is expanded in his capacity to hold and to know where the boundary is, to discern the sacred yes, the sacred no, right? This is, you need to create safety within yourself in order to have a very nurturing and sustainable, supportive business, especially as a healer, right? Because we want to have regulated nervous systems. We want to be able to have divine union partnerships where we're not in conflict. You want to be able to not be power struggling with everyone because you feel like you need to fight for your fucking power because you forgot that it was already yours. There's so many little nuanced dynamics that happen here.
That was good.
You like that?
I like that.
Yeah?
You said it nicely.
Thank you. I'm pretty good at this.
You've had a good teacher.
As have you.
But that's true though. Like we've had to play this out a lot.
Because
even like in my role, I've always taken my role as a protector very seriously. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like always being Kara's protector or my home, my kids. But like you say, being even like me as like the physical representation of the masculine, me in my efforts to be the protector, a lot of times I was working from a place of fear.
Yeah.
You know, and it was sneaky, right? Because I'm thinking I'm doing my job right now. I'm protecting you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you shouldn't say those things, or you shouldn't be this way, or blah blah blah, right? And then it's like, but then it wasn't working. I'm like, why isn't it working? I'm trying to protect her, but why isn't it? You know, why is she not receiving it? Why is she like, you know, pushed back, or why does it also not feel good in my system? You know, and I'm like, because I'm operating from a place of fear.
Mm-hmm.
Like my intention, you know, is comes from a good place, but I'm not operating from a place of love. I'm operating from a place of fear, and it's and it feels restrictive. It feels like controlling.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel, and you could feel that too, right?
Yeah.
Like you can always feel that.
It's not expansive.
But now, like, you know, like more than ever, that I've transitioned from a place of more, like I said, a place of like ease and love. You know, like it's served us very well in our business.
Mm-hmm.
Because now Kara can be big and she can move however she wants, you know, and I can just be the container for her to hold her, you know, even whenever at times, you know, maybe you're having your own doubt, you know, for me to, you know, protect your emotions and your feelings and your energy, you know, for you to come back and feel safe again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I had to do that for my own self,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's like, you don't, I mean, it's great to have a man who can co-create this with you, but even just as a woman, like we have to, and men, like we have to be able to do this within our own selves first in order to be truly sovereign in it. And there was like another aspect of this that I really wanted to touch on, and I can't think of it right now in the moment. But
I mean, the only reason why I was able to like offer Kara a different kind of holding or protection is because I had to do that work myself. It started with me, you know, foremost. But sometimes, you know, at times, like, you know, I've had to be that mirror for you, you know, where maybe like you were a little wobbly, you know, and I'm like, no, they're like, there's nothing wrong with you. You're safe. You know, I got you, you know, here, cry on my chest, you know, whatever, you know.
Or sometimes where you like have also been like in a test form of like, it's up to you, whatever you want to do. The only way you can find out is to do it. Yeah. Right. And then and then sometimes then you're like, fuck, I have to fucking make a decision here and stand in it. And I have to be okay if I totally fucking bomb this.
Or having like really strong boundaries, you know, because at times, you know, this happened between us, but sometimes her wanting to use me for the reason why she doesn't get to have it, right? And I've been putting it back to her and be like, nope, I'm not the reason why you don't get to have it. So do the thing that you said you're gonna do, make the decision, and you get to have
Play
it.
it out.
And that's me often holding in that too, right? Like I'm not gonna be, you're not gonna use me. I'm not gonna be the reason why you don't get to have it. And
well, that's a really great thing to talk about. Is like this is also why people don't have it, because they use everything outside of them. They use their partners. They use their kids. They use the local community,
economy,
the what is it, the group think of the community,
the herd mentality,
right? Like the herd mentality, right? Because we felt like this in the past too, right? We were like, oh my God, St. Louis is not ready for us. They're not going to like what we're going to do. Da 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 da. And we used that to hold back and stay small. And then finally we had to just like make a decision and kind of be like, fuck it. Like, this is just what we're doing. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to say it. We're going to put the offer out. And they can feel however they want to feel about it. People are going to travel from all over the world to come and do these things with us. We had to make those decisions, right? And that's another reason why we don't have, like, why you don't have a thriving, nurturing, sustainable, supportive business. You haven't fucking decided.
Yeah.
You haven't decided. You haven't decided. You haven't decided. And you haven't decided because you're afraid. Not saying that's a bad thing. Totally get it. But that's your work to do.
And then the decision, like Kara and I have been talking about this, because even if you still don't feel worthy, even if you don't know the how, even if you still have your distortions and lies, making a decision, like saying, like, I get to have this thing, I get to raise my prices, I get to be supported, I have to have the unit. Like in that, you'll get aligned to that. You'll start walking that path, of feeling worthy of receiving all the things, right? But you have to make a decision, because if not, somebody else is making a decision for you. Your community's making a decision for you. Your family members, people that are also in lack are making a decision for you.
Well, not making a decision is still making a decision.
And the economy, you let them, their influence, they're making the decision for you, right? And you don't even realize it. You're just like, oh my God, this is how I feel. Might not realize it, that wasn't even your decision. It was somebody else's. So then you get to make your own decision.
Yeah.
You can decide.
I think where we want to land probably on this too is that, like, as you like, and you, because you mentioned it here, the worthiness, and you've mentioned it a few times here, and this is a huge piece. You don't need to feel worthy right now to make the decision that you get to have what you want, right? Now, as you walk your path towards receiving what you want, your ability to decide and choose that you are worthy, because you're the only one that can determine your worthiness. So as you determine your worthiness, it just allows it to be easier. But you can have it all right now and never feel worthy of it. And you'll probably experience a bit of inner conflict. You might create some chaos. You might have some sabotaging patterns that are still on repeat playing out, and you just get to keep loving them. You just get to keep bringing them back into wholeness. You just get to keep honoring the fear that is there, and keep making the decisions around what you get to have, and then choosing to deciding that you in fact are worthy of your every motherfucking desire. And
it takes as long as it takes.
Yep, it sure fucking does.
Because sometimes that can also be like, it can fuck us, right? Because we're like, okay, I want to do it by this time, and if it doesn't happen, you're like, oh, okay, well, I guess it didn't work, or never mind, No, it takes as long as it takes.
Yeah, it
really
does.
Believing in that, you know? Like, you make your decision, and then you're like, okay, and I'm going to see it through, and maybe it take me 2 months, maybe it take 2 years. But I will see it through. It will happen. It will be mine.
Yep. I'm on year 7. Wait, probably year 8, actually. I think it's 8 since I, did my first, workshop here at the house 8 years ago. I thought it was going to be a 2-year trajectory, and it's been 8 years. And it could have probably happened sooner had I understood I needed to keep making this decision over and over and over and over again, and just keep standing in the fucking decision. But along the way. I was developed, continue to be developed. There's still many, many, many more decisions I get to make, and I continue to make over and over and over and over and over and over again.
I remember like we had this conversation a few months ago about my attachment in the past was very avoidant. I was every time that we had a conflict, I would just avoid, distance myself, self isolate, and it's just a pattern that I keep playing over and over and over, and every time they had a fight, I'm like, okay, I'm out, I'm done, and then Kara just like always like stay there, like try open to conversations, giving me space, whatever, right? And I think it was a couple months ago I asked you, I said, like what made you stay through all those times that I was trying to push you away or that I was acting like an idiot, and not seeing what was in front of me? And she said, I decided. Like I decided, you made a decision that we were gonna see this through, and then we were gonna get to the other side. And I was like, damn, like, and then I'm like, I guess fucking I hadn't decided, and I made the decision too, and things definitely shifted, even if I go through myself and I see myself going through it, I know that I'm still gonna, I'm gonna be okay, and we're still gonna be together. And it's just my traumas or my insecurities or my attachment style just playing out, but I'm safe. In my relationship, I'm safe. Nothing's gonna happen, right? And I can rationalize that, but it's all started from also me deciding.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
Yeah. So that's the power of decision.
Power of decision and the power of love.
Yeah. And I guess even like soul contract. Because I've tried to get away from this woman, but it's like I'm tied to her. We're like tied or something, man. Like I'm like, I told her the other day, I said, like, man, when it comes to like other people, other relations, even my family, like if there's trauma, I'm so quick to be like, I'm done with that. I'm done with you. And with Kara, it's like the biggest lessons, the most confrontational shit I've ever had to deal with, and not being able to get away. Like I'm like, there has to be something else here at play, because I'm like so patient with you. Like I constantly looking at myself, and like confronting parts of me, because I'm like, fuck, maybe I think she was right, just like what did you do to me? What kind of magic did you do?
Pussy magic.
Kind of voodoo magic.
Well, you're the one that said you knew from the first date that I was the one. So
that is true.
And then you knew also that I was going to be the end of you.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had other conversations too where I'm like, hey, I want to be my whole big full huge self, and I'm afraid that I'm going to break you and I'm going to break us. And you said, try me. And so I did.
You pushed it to the edge a few times. Like,
I
really
did. I sure did. You liked it every time.
Maybe a little bit.
Because you just got to find out how powerful you were in the process.
That's true.
So this is another aspect of like how you can look at your business is like, ooh, what if I let my business take me to my edge and show me how fucking powerful I am? And that's a really fun place to work in, of like, ooh, like how can I let this discomfort expand me and be ecstatic and even be like, it can be like, it doesn't have to always be like a wild, intense, explosive. But if that's where you're at, we understand that too. And like, it's evolved for us. We used to like really, and sometimes we still do, but like, we just do it on our terms, but like, we don't have to play it out in our business anymore, right? We don't have to play it out in our finances so much. And it's like, yes, you love a lot of it. And this is the thing is, we have to accept that as humans, like we came here to experience sensation, all of life, right? That's what makes us feel alive. And when you can accept that, then you don't have to fear the sensations that come. You just get to embrace them and let it be something that turns you on, right? And you just get to like lean into that edge and be like, ooh, I'm willing to feel this. Ooh, I'm actually willing to like let it even be like soft and gentle and like let that turn me on. Or like, ooh, maybe in this season I like it hard and intense and wild, you know, and I want to feel myself in that way, that because that makes me feel powerful. And there's many different aspects of our power. Right now I just happen to be getting really turned on by like how easy can I let it be, how soft and gentle can I let it be, and really let that turn me on.
But one thing that I think Kara and I became very aware like years ago is how much we love intensity, right? But we were just looking at it in the wrong places, or you know, even like our unconscious mind was put in places where we could experience that intensity. You know, like I even adopted this belief that I did better when I was between a hard place and a rock. You know, which is true, but at times it was a little too much. It was detrimental, and it affected our relationship, you know, and sometimes I would push the boundary a little too much, you know. Then it was like it wasn't fun, right? And it's like I just have to look for other outlets so I can experience myself in that way, right? Like birthing new programs, or you know, walking into unknown, you know,
making fuck tons of money and like being able to go on vacations or adventures and stuff instead, you know. Right. Like that also provides,
or being visible,
intensity,
you know?
Being visible, yeah. Arlene says, I'm so ready to let go of my old stories and stand tall in the power that I feel pulsing in me so intensely. You two worded all so well. I have to go, but thank you for your medicine. And then Tammy says, you dropping some bombs today.
I know, Kara's on fire today, man.
Because I feel so, I am on fire right now, and I do feel really passionate about this. This is why I'm like literally doing the Gospel of the Holy Flame. Like, if you haven't signed up for it already, it's free. It's Thursday, April 3rd. We're doing it 4 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Like I am going to do like a full activation, a full facilitation to activate you in your holy erotic power. And I want you to know like your gifts are holy, like your eros is holy, your desires are holy, your power is motherfucking divine. And I want you to know that, right? Like I want you to bring your gifts to the world. I want you to bring your medicine to the world. The world needs it. Like we all need it. And like if we all did this, like we can really create that paradigm shift that we know is here and is upon us. And if you're here watching this, you've been called. Like you already know you're here to do this. So let's just not play games and like let's step in and do the work.
Don't play hard to get.
Like no more fucking around. Yeah, no more fucking around, right? And it doesn't have to be hard, and it doesn't have to suffer, and you don't have to suffer. There doesn't have to be sacrifice required. I mean, yes, there's like work required, and like yes, it's just uncomfortable at times, absolutely, but like also it gets to be easier, and it gets to feel really good, and it gets to be pleasure and bliss and joy and all of the things, and so much abundance and love, just so much fucking love. And that's really what I'm feeling right now.
I feel it too, man.
You feel it?
Yeah,
you feel it?
Yeah.
What does it feel like?
You're like your energy's alive. You know, feeling it.
Yes. Yes, Angelica, the Gospel of the Holy Flame will be recorded. Yep, there will be a replay. So sign up even if you can't attend the live event. Please.
And it's
Great
free.
question. And it's free. It's free. And it's like a 2.5 hour event. Yeah, I'm really excited. I've never facilitated the activation in a public way like this before. I only ever do it in private work or paid containers. I'm like bringing the drum, I'm bringing the rattle, I'm bringing my eroticism, I'm bringing the whole motherfucking everything for you. It's gonna literally be on another level, and I'm really, really excited about it. So it's like, yeah, that's why you're feeling the juice.
Yeah.
Feeling the juice.
What about Temazcal? We still got some spaces for
Oh
the
my
women?
gosh, yes, we actually have 6. We're gonna really need to
Okay.
tell your friends. Come on, tell all of your friends. Temazcal, Women's Temazcal Friday.
Next Friday?
Yes,
Okay.
next Friday we've got 5 days left. So 4 days until the Gospel of Sacred Receiver, or the Gospel of the Holy Flame. 5 days until Temazcal, Women's Temazcal, and we're going to be riding this like whole holy flame, your power, all of that, like letting it be so like juicy and delicious, and it's like we're all in this like bee energy right now. Lauren was on earlier. I don't know if she's still here, but like we're also in Dragoness. We're in the bee portal, the sacred masculine portal, divine union portal. It's like just juicy, delicious, like
Good shit.
yeah, per our conversation earlier, that merging, and it's like just like this sweet nectar, honey, deliciousness, the wealth. I mean, it's just all the goodness right now. So like you want to fucking be there.
Peace out. We gotta go.
Oh wait, hold on. We have one more thing to say. Okay, we also have the Dragon Eye Experience, April 26th. So if you can't come to Women's Temazcal on Friday, you definitely want to come to the Dragon Eye Experience. We're going to be having it at Lauren Davis's space in Imperial, Missouri. Tickets are $222. It is a brand new event. It's a collaborative experience. We have 5 musical facilitators, and we have a dance somatic facilitator, and it is going to be a motherfucking vibe. Like, you're gonna get activated, your Eros is gonna come alive, like we're gonna light your motherfucking flame, you're gonna get to like release so much shame, and really come back to a new level of power within yourself, your creation energy. Yeah.
Hope to see you there.
Yes. So come. Let us know if you have any questions. Okay. Now.
I also have a men's Temazcal on the 18th.
Yes.
So, yeah, we got the women's on the 4th, and then the men's on the 18th.
Yes. Tell your men, tell the guys, come, get in this space, and it's really, really powerful.
Come indeed.
Come. Are you ready to come? See you next week.